3.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the week again, 8:30 Thursday night, the second biggest running podcast on this side of the Atlantic Ocean, the Third and Long podcast. My name's Shane Harris. Up to my top right is the incomparable Philip Perrins, podcast OG Oliver Butler Henderson, up top left, I believe. Boys, do we have our breath back after what was an amazing draft day?
It was rather good, wasn't it? I mean, I don't like the fact you stole our wide receiver.
Oh,
but, you know,
I was going to say, I got flowers to give you. Was the only flowers you were getting?
I mean, we still got Gonzo, who was meant to be a top 10 pick, and he fell to us at 17. And the fact we screwed over the Jets by letting Steelers take their tackle they wanted. Even better.
Wait, I just realised something. Phil, is that a podcast mic?
What?
Is that a podcast mic you've got it?
Sorry, yeah. So this was the mic that I bought during COVID, as well as when I was doing hospital radio. So like, I just kind of like pretend I'm like a Gallagher every now and then, just like.
Dare anyone swear? We're professionals. As he drinks from his Tigger mug.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with Tigger. The wonderful things about Tigger. Although,
boys, go on.
It does make Phil look like he's a proper podcaster and a proper host, almost like.
Or smashy and nicely, if you remember that.
What do you mean? What do you mean? We are the proper hosts and we are proper podcasters.
Oh, by the way, there was some other news on draft day as well. Another big thing happened. I can't remember, but what was it?
Well, I was going to say that we can mention that when it comes to Baltimore, who are in the first group.
Okay, I'll wait.
So, the way it's going to go, we're going to go through each team, each franchise individually, and we will grade them. I was expecting Mr. Hope to give me his, but Mr. Hope hasn't given this. And then we will go our average of the 3 grades will come up on our socials tomorrow so we can be berated by them. So if we get an A, B, and a C, it's obviously going to average a B. If it's 3 A's, it's obviously going to get an A. So whatever, we'll go like that line.
So okay. Yep.
That is how it's going to be. That is how we're going to run it. So let's roll on with first one, and let's go for Arizona, who started their draft process started with Paris Johnson at 6 on the tackle. How do you feel their draft went?
I think the Cardinals probably had the best draft out of most teams in the NFL. I think Paris Johnson Jr. is a massive pick for them, considering that they need to protect Kyler Murray, or they have to look like they're trying to. They then drafted Ed Rusher. I'm going to say this appropriately. BJ Ojulari. And then they also got some cornerbacks. They got Michael Wilson from Stanford as a wide receiver. They picked up some really, really solid players, but also like a nice backup or potential third string backup in Clayton Tune as well from Houston. I really like what the Arizona Cardinals actually got in the draft. Begrudgingly, they had a really good draft, and I'm not proud about saying that.
Yeah, I mean, offensively, yeah. I mean, I would have probably, if them, I'd have tried to find myself a running back. Definitely trying to find themselves some edge rushers, defensive ends, edge rushers. You know, okay, they've picked up Dante Stillis from West Virginia in the 6th, but they never went after one of these good edge rushers we've got. They could have had Miles Murphy. They could have had Bryce, Barry Bryce, and people like that. Yeah. It was a bit messy in the first round. They traded back to trade forward to Joe. They would it's almost like they missed every time they traded back. They missed a player they wanted, so they just got right. Tell you what, 6. Let's just go for it. We'll take Paris Johnson, who you said is an outstanding player. He's probably going to be lining up on the left side of the O line.
Yeah.
I would say personally. I don't know about yourself, Shayna. What do you think?
I think they drafted really well. They obviously moved down 3 spots in the first round, which shocked everyone. Well, to be honest with you, I think myself and everybody else and their dog thought they were going for Will Anderson, but obviously he went elsewhere. As Phil said, Ojulari is a great pickup as well, and they've also got John Gaines as well, who is I believe he's a guard, and apparently he's really smooth and really quick. So I think he'll obviously help the team a lot. My draft grade for them is an A, but just about.
Nice. Mr. Perrins, what's your grade for them, sir?
All right. Are we sorry? Are we doing it out of letters or are we doing it out of numbers?
Let's do it out of letters. Let's do it the old-fashioned way.
Great. So I've graded them almost similar to like how the NFL have done. I've done it across like the 3-day span, and I think overall, I'm going to say I think the Cardinals had a really, really good draft. I mean, their offensive line rebuild is massively right there. So they need to kind of like look into how to protect Kyler Murray. They've got some backups placed. They've added to, like we said, like Ojulari, Williams, and Wilson. They're quality picks in positions that they are in desperate need of. They picked up players for their secondary as well. I'm going to say overall grading A.
I've downed it a little bit. I've given it as a B. Purely the fact I think they really should have gone after the defensive end. I don't think a corner was a big need for them. A defensive end probably was a bigger need. So that's why I've only just gone it that way. But yeah, I mean, it was a solid draft despite them playing ping pong in the first 12 picks of the round. But yeah, it was a solid, really solid draft. I really liked it. Over to Atlanta, Mr. Harris.
Yes, but I was quite shocked that they took Bijan Robinson first because we all had them taking a quarterback in the mocks, but Bijan Robinson is easily the best running back of the class, but he's also one of the best and most explosive players of the class. I'd be interested to see what he actually does for the Falcons, but I think it's a wise pick, and they also traded up as well for I believe is it Matthew Bergeron, guard from Syracuse. Yeah, they traded up for him as well. Apparently he's very versatile in the tackle. They also picked up Harrison as well, who's a long, strong base end as well. So yeah, I think they done well. I go A, but I go A minus.
A minus. Very wise, Mr. Harris. Mr. Perrins.
You know what? I think that's the exact same as well. I've actually graded them as an A minus. I think Bijan Robinson is a great pick. They've also picked up another guard as well. Zach Harrison at 75. Utah's Clark Phillips III. Alabama's DeMarco Harlins to kind of like help that secondary out quite a lot. And they finished off with a center. It sounds Welsh. Shano, Jovan Gwyn.
Jovan Gwyn, yeah. So I was like, Gwyn?
You know what? I think day one I graded them as an A minus, day two I graded them as an A, and then day three I graded them a B. I think it's a really tenacious draft for the Falcons. Are they going to instantly be good this year? No, but we will see smooth improvements. I think they're going in the right direction going into the next NFL season.
It shows how they're working their offense. So last year, or a couple of years ago, they got Kyle Pitts, who was meant to be the best tight end in the group. The year before, they went off Drake London, who was meant to be one of the best wide receivers in the group. And this year, they got Bijan Robinson, who's meant to be the best running back. I am a little bit surprised they didn't take one of the quarterbacks, especially Will Levis was still floating around there around about the second round. Meant to be this big one. You had Stenson, who went to the Rams later on. There's some players, so they missed a bit of that. I've graded them a little bit less than you guys. I've gone for B+. Purely the fact I think they should have gone over, I think they could have done a little bit more on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, they were one of the lowest scoring teams last year, and I think offense would have been more of a way to go about it, and then you can build on defense next year, because they're going to be, I'm going to say, a top 10 pick next year. I'm sorry to say, but I've gone for B+ because it is a very, very good start, and they've picked us some quality players that should have been a lower pick or a higher pick than they actually were. Yeah, so the Ravens tried to steal the draft. Before the draft. Go on then, Shane. You've been wanting this all week, mate.
Thank you, but I appreciate that. The floor is yours. Yeah, I was massively surprised that Zay Flowers fell as low as he did. I thought we would have drafted, what's his name? Jordan Addison or Josh Woods.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's not Josh Woods, is it? Who am I thinking of?
Downs.
Downs, sorry, yeah, Josh Downs, sorry. Yeah, but no, I was messaging Ollie at like 3 o'clock in the morning when the Ravens took their pick to say who we drafted, and I can't repeat his exact verbiage on air because, yeah, let's just say he wasn't best pleased. But yeah, what explosive player.
Doesn't it rhyme with duck?
Something like that, yeah. There's a family show, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, so, yeah, what an explosive player in Zay Flowers. I wasn't really looking forward to seeing our offense with the way it was from the back end of last season, but now I'm really looking forward to it with the addition of Odell and Zay Flowers and Rashad hopefully fit and Mark Andrews and the small matter of number 8 signing for another 5 years, the biggest contract in NFL history. Personally, I don't think he's worth the money. Oh, I know, love him. I know. Sorry, you had to put up with that now.
It was a little sad face. It was a very sad face. But, I mean, counteracted, we had Gonzo, so, you know.
Yeah, I'm going to say, yeah, so it's the biggest contract in NFL history. I personally don't think he's worth the money. That money goes to people like Patrick Mahomes, who are proven winners and could completely change the quality of a side. We also drafted linebacker from Clemson, Trenton Simpson, who I've heard nothing but good things about. You know, it's well documented on this podcast. I am not an expert in college football at all. So everything I do, I read about, all the boys tell me. And at 5 years, he's very, very good. We also drafted another edge rusher due to the fact that Justin Houston had gone, Tavius Robinson. And a cornerback from Stanford as well. Caillou Blue Kelly sounds, I'm sure his parents are having funny.
So you grabbed him in the 5th.
Yeah.
He was projected to go second day.
That's a steal. That sounds like a steal. Sounds like a steal to me then.
There was a lot of steals in this draft that, it's like, whoa, how the hell has he fallen that far? There you go. Kelly's come back and said she thinks Odell forced the deal for that deal in the end. That might have tipped it over the edge. To be fair, I'm glad it did. And as I said in numerous comment sections since the deal was announced, I'm glad it's not my money. We also drafted. Let me have a little help with this one. Malay Salah Amuvar. Yeah. He's an offensive tackle from Oregon, and apparently he's a unit. He's a big one. Yeah.
So yeah, he'd be hard to get past. And a guard from USC, then Andrew Voorhees. There's another one, Phil. There's another one for us.
Oh, he's going to be brilliant on Friday the 13th.
Oh God, wrestling. I'm doing.
No.
Horror film. We haven't even talked about wrestling.
No, not yet. Yeah. So my overall draft grade for my beloved Baltimore Ravens is A. Because let's be fair, Eric DaCosta knows what he's doing when it comes to draft time.
Oh, lad. I think that, all right, because I'm going to have to bounce after just my little input on this. I also graded the Ravens as an A. I was really, really impressed. Yes, they kind of stole the pre-draft when Lamar announced his intentions to remain in the fine city of Baltimore for the foreseeable future. I also did the pictures that they posted on their social media earlier, Shano, of them officially signing his contract. I know it's a done deal. I mean, he looked obviously super happy to still be in Baltimore.
I couldn't look at it, but I couldn't look at it.
But I think it's great. I think Zay Flowers is brilliant. He's going to complement Odell. He's going to take quite a lot of the expectations of Odell and Bateman off their shoulders and kind of share between the three of them. Linebacker, Baltimore's always built their championship teams around defense. And John Harbaugh, again, is another one that, he's going to constantly really, really focus on that defense, considering that the AFC is going to get considerably more difficult this year as a lot of the better players, a lot of the better quarterbacks are in that division. So, yeah, I'm really chuffed with what bottom I've come out with. I'm going to have to bounce, ladies and gents, because I've got a busy day tomorrow and on Tuesday, so I will see you all next week. But I'm back full time, all the time, next Thursday. So see you in a bit, guys. Peace. As they say in Canada. See you in a way better.
Later. So, yeah, I mean, I really like I said, I really, really like the Kebu Kelly pick from Stanford. A very, very good corner. What do you think of Mr. Lewis said down here, putting all the Ravens putting all their eggs into one basket? Worked for Rams a few years ago.
That's a very good shout, John. Fair play. The Rams had superstars at every position when they won the Super Bowl. And yeah, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And as I've said, I don't think you should have that much money. And it just goes to show in this generation, if you stamp your feet long enough, you'll eventually get what you want. Another thing of this generation is, this is the generation of people that are not used to being told no. You know? So yeah, it's nice that we've got him for another 5 years. I wouldn't have chucked that much money at him. But the fact that they've built this offense around him now, which I'm very excited to see. But we've always been like a defensive first team, close second, a run offense team, and passing team was always, like a quite distant third. But now it looks like the passing game will be catching up. Well, how are we going to play next year? I can't wait to find out.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen Zay a lot of videos of Zay doing a lot of jet sweeps. You don't have that kind of thing. I think it's 2 fingers up to Rashad Bateman.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's now going to probably end up going to be WR3 behind Zay and Odell. But yeah, I really like it. I've given them an A. I didn't quite catch what you were given, drafted them as. Yeah,
I give him an A, but because let's be fair, Eric DaCosta very rarely misses the mark when it comes to draft day, and he hasn't again.
Yeah. On to Baltimore, who...
Buffalo?
Yeah. Buffalo, yeah. Sorry, you've done Baltimore. I mean, Dalton Kilich, that's just improved that offense so much. They're very good with those kind of slot type receivers. Yes, he's a tight end, but you had I can't think of his name off the top of the anti-vaxxer. I can't think of his name off the top of the head. Who was that kind of Cole Beasley? That kind of player. Yeah. He's the same kind of player as Cole Beasley. Will run the same type of routes as Cole Beasley, but he's about 4 times the size. And he's a hell of a baller. I think it's an absolute steal. I was expecting to go a lot higher than 26. Osiris Torrance, that's another massive steal again.
That's a pick.
And there were some really good picks. They picked up Justin Shorter, which is a nice late pick in the 5th round, the wide receiver out of Florida. And they've got a couple of guards as well. Another guard in there with Nick Boyka as well. So they've picked up some solid players. I've put what I've written down here is, Kincaid and Prozio, Torrance is a 2nd round still, in absolute. But they've got, I've written this a lot of good players in the positions, which is going to do a good job in this league. They're not, shout at your face of players. But there's a lot of good players in this draft will elevate players that you've got, make players you've got play better. Because they've now got that extra competition going in. Because, say, for example, Dawson Knox went down and you lose your number 1 tight end for a while. Dalton Kincaid is as good, if not a little bit better. There's a lot of players like that. They're as good as the players that are already on the rosters. It's a little bit lesser. So you're going to lose a lot of teams going down a level if they lose starters. So I think that's a lot of this draft. I've written that in a lot. There's a lot of very good players late on in this draft. I've marked them as an A+. I hate doing that because I think they've had a really good draft. Really, really good draft, personally.
I think it's going to be a lot of teams when we do this draft grid this evening, which will be a case of the rich getting richer. The likes of the Bills, the Chiefs, and the Eagles all drafted really well. They filled needs that needed to be filled. And if they didn't have needs that needed to be filled, they've added very, very good backup. As you've said, if Dawson Knox goes down, Dalton Kincaid can step in and just, show what he's about, show what he's made of. And as I said, Osiris Torrance taking their second pick. What a great pick. He was projected to go first, to go in the first round. And they've also taken a linebacker, Dorian Williams, as well, from Tulane, a guard, Nick Broker, from Mississippi, and cornerback Alex Austin from Oregon State. So as you can see, the Bills have drafted really well. I'm going to have to give them an A. I want somebody please draft badly so I can stop giving A's out.
Yeah, I think it starts next, mate. I really do, in my personal opinion. I'm going to let you go because I've got some things to say about this.
No worries, but the Panthers, we all were correct. You know, the worst kept secret in football, Bryce Young going first, which he did. Yeah. And then the second pick then, Jonathan Mingo, a wide receiver. As I've said previously, the Panthers are stacking. They are sort of filling up their offensive side of the ball with weapons. They are stacking up their roster. I think Jonathan Mingo's a good pick to go there. I don't think he's going to be a starter. He may see a couple of reps now and again, but I don't think he's going to be a go-to guy straight off. But and then they also drafted an edge rusher from Oregon, DJ Johnson, a guard from North Carolina State, Chandler Zavala, and a defensive back from Florida State, Jamie Robinson. It's a great name. That's a great name for a defensive back, Jamie. Fantastic. Almost like Quinton Jammer.
Like. Does he stick to wide receivers?
Very good. So like I said, the fact that they're building this squad a lot with free agents and trades anyway. I didn't think the draft would be that important. As long as they got their guy, their franchise quarterback in Bryce Young, they should be okay. But again, we've also seen over decades when there's so much pressure on a first pick quarterback in the draft. Yeah. Sometimes it doesn't pan out. People like Jamarcus Russell, just to name one.
I hope he has a better season, or he's got a better coaching system around him than the other guaranteed number one went in Trevor Lawrence on their first season. I mean, he was guaranteed to go number one. I do feel a little bit sorry for them. If I was Carolina's head office, I would be going let's stack this O-line. Let's give him as much time, as much talent, as much talent in that line to give as much time to give him that chance to get that ball out. You know, you're in a division where you've got incredible pass rushers in this division. And in this conference, incredible pass rushers you're going to be going up against. You know, you're going to be against these teams that are going to be literally going to bearing down you because you're a rookie. Give this guy as much protection as you can. And I don't think they've quite done that. I would have stacked the O-line a bit more. I'd have definitely got another tackle in there. My actual first for 8 line I vote is I feel sorry for Bryce. Should have got more O-line protections. That's my personal opinion. This is why I have personally marked them down as a C+. For me.
I was going to say, I'm giving them a B. I am, and that's generous. The fact that within this league, when you've got rookie quarterbacks who have taken first, there's so much pressure, not just from the defensive tackles and edge rushers trying to bring them down, but also from the media, from the fans, from their parents, that sort of thing. So, like you said, I agree. He should have had more offensive line help. He needs as much time in the pocket or, wherever he feels comfortable to get a playoff, to do something and show the fans that there's hope. But then if there's not much protecting him, it might all come tumbling down like a house of cards.
Oh, yes. Very, very, very much so. Chicago. I really like what Chicago did.
Okay.
Really,
go on. I'm not sold on it. Sell me on it. Go on, sell me on it. Do your best, Jordan Belfort, and sell me on it.
So it's one of these things. It goes thing. Okay. Nothing spectacular. Very, very solid all across the board. I've got them down as they needed offensive tackles. They probably got one of the best offensive tackles in Darnell White in the league, going into the league. Okay. They needed a defensive tackle. They've gone and got Gavon Dexter, who was predicted to go round, or could have been a round 1 pick. Very, very good. They've got Trayvon Stevenson from Miami, who's a very good cornerback. Zach Pickens, another defensive tackle from South Carolina. they've just gone and picked really good players that, again, are going to elevate what they've got. Is I think if you've gone, I'll starter, and this guy's going to be taking my reps, if I don't pick up, these players are going to be elevating because they don't want to lose their rating. They don't want to lose their bonuses and all that. So these are what these players do. And this is what your draft's doing. I mean, I really like the late pickup of Terrell Smith from Minnesota, the cornerback in the 5th round. He was one of the last picks in the 5th round. I think he's a very, very good cornerback. I think he's understudied, underrated. He's a little bit undersized height-wise, but he's very, very quick to the ball. He's a hell of a ball hawk. A lot like Trayvon Diggs from Dallas, that kind of player. And Noah Swell, Penny Swell's brother from Detroit O-line, he got picked up.
I thought it was.
He got picked up as well. The interior linebacker, again, he could have gone round 3, and they picked him up in round 5. So this is what I mean. They've elevated their roster. They've taken their roster to another level. They've stacked it. They filled the players that they lost last season. I think Chicago are going to run Minnesota reasonably close, I think, this year. So I've given them a B+ on their one. Not quite an A. Almost. I really wanted to give them a B, an A, but they just weren't quite there.
Yes, I was surprised. Well, I was surprised initially at how many picks they had, but I remember that they had a king's ransom, for the first pick. So yeah, they've got a lot. They've also drafted a running back, Roschon Johnson from Texas, and a wide receiver, help for Justin Fields and Tyler Scott. Yep. So yeah, like I said, I think I pretty much agree with you on their draft. I give them a B+ as well.
Yep. Cincinnati.
Do I have to?
No. Take your Baltimore cap off. I've had to do it with the other 3 teams in mind, so you can take yours off.
Fair enough. Yeah, Myles Murphy, edge rusher from Clemson. Very good pick. Very, very good pick. Do you think they needed an edge rusher for the first pick of the draft, though?
It's one of those ones where you take the best player available.
Yeah.
Personally, I would have probably gone after Michael Mayer because I reckon the tight end would have been more of a grab for them. But yeah, I mean, go and get a player who's going to absolutely destroy. You're going to have. You got Lamar Jackson, who is someone who likes to run the ball, likes to rush, get to him as quick as you can. Myles Murphy is a rapid defensive end. He's got a brilliant swim move. Love his ways of evade the block. So really, really good. Then you've got Kenny Pickett, who's big and strong and stand in the pocket. So you need someone to be able to take him down. And then you got Deshaun Watson, who can also scramble and also run around. So you need someone there who can go to it. So yeah, I'm not surprised they took it. Like I said, I would have gone for tight end personally. That's why I've marked them down a little bit. It's really annoyed me because those 2 wide receivers I wanted New England to pick up. Obviously, Zay in the first, and the other one was Charlie Jones, who I thought would have been a brilliant day 3 pick for us.
Ah, right.
And for Charlie Jones from Purdue, the wide receiver, and Cincinnati took him. And it's like, and my son, who's a Bengals fan, goes, we've got your player you've wanted. And it's like, cheers, Finn. Thanks for that.
God, bad draft for you, but whatever.
But yeah. So yeah, I mean, DJ Turner's a great corner for Michigan. Michigan provide really good corners. Brad Robbins, the punter, has a monster of a boot on him. I think I read somewhere his average was like 62 yards or something stupid like that. It's a monster boost on him for the punter.
They also took a running back from Illinois, Chase Brown, a Miami cornerback in DJ Ivey, and an Alabama safety, Jordan Battle, who was a very, very solid all-rounder from what I've read.
Yeah, I've heard that. I think that's a great day 2 pick, Jordan Battle. I mean, Alabama's safeties. I mean, obviously Brian Branch, and there's a couple others going there, but Alabama's secondaries are brilliant. Them and Ohio secondaries are probably second to none. Really, really like that. If you want to get secondary, you go to Ohio or you go to Alabama. Really, really like that one. I give them a B.
Okay. I'm going to give them an A minus. Purely for the fact that they could have drafted better than Miles Murphy. Not that there's anything wrong. Miles Murphy's a great pick, but they could have addressed other needs on the team before they picked the glamorous pick, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But the rest of the draft, they went faultless.
Yeah. There's a couple of teams that are like that. One is we're going to be talking about in about 4 drafts time. Cleveland, I give them a C minus purely because of Deshaun Watson.
You can't like paint the whole franchise because of him. Well, you can kind of.
They sold the house. They sold the farm side to buy a flat. That's how I feel like.
Wow, I like that saying. That's really good.
Bolster that O-line up. Look after your franchise quarterback. Like he would. No, I'm not going to go down that route. Yeah, I mean, you've got good weapons there, so they go and get him a wide receiver. They didn't really need wide receiver. I just don't like the picks they got. I just really don't. I mean, Cedric Tillman is a day 3 pick. They've gone and got him in day 2. Darwin Jones from the offensive tackle. They could have got him later on in the day because he was projected to be round 6. I don't know. There was just I don't know.
Nothing really head turning or exciting.
No, it's just it's like, oh wow, you've picked that play. Oh my god, it was nothing about that. I just didn't like any of the picks. It was just one of them. It was just one of those things. Like I said, they sold the farm to get a flat. And they haven't decided to convert it.
Well, they did pick Ohio State center Luke Weipler with their last pick, and his value was too strong to turn down. And the fact that he was a 6th round pick as well, he was there for the taking, and I think they made the right choice for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll give him a C, as in wait and see.
Great.
I got one there. I like
that one. Dallas. So Mazzy Smith in the first. For me personally, as a reach. Sorry, Dallas. I mean, I love everything. I mean, for me personally, they filled every position they needed. Luke Shoemaker was a really, really good tight end.
Yes,
It's a smart pick, and I really do like that. And I think that you're going to see a lot of teams going for the 2 tight end setup now. Because it gives you so many different options. You're going to be able to run the ball down people's throats, or you've got an 2 extra catchers, and they can block as well. And I really like that situation. But yeah, again, there was nothing overly spectacular about this. They just went about their business, did this. I liked the video of Juice Vaughn's pick from Dallas. I don't know if anyone's seen this at all. So, Juice Vaughn is the running back at Kansas State, and his dad, Chris, is one of the scouts from Dallas.
That's right!
And so his dad phoned him, said, "Hi, son, I'm just phoning off the work phone. For some reason, my mobile's not working, or cell, as they call it over there. Yeah, it's a blah, blah, blah. How would you like to come and play? How would you like to be a Cowboy?" And it's like then passing over to Jerry. It's like, yeah, we're gonna pick up that. And I just thought that was absolutely brilliant. There's not many times you applaud Dallas, but that was a clever little trick they did there. Like, absolutely.
That's heartwarming, and I'm surprised Jerry Jones is even capable of heartwarming moments. But that's really sweet.
And apparently he's meant to be quite a good little running back, and is an outside steal to make the roster.
Okay.
The only reason I marked these guys down, they needed a wide receiver. They got one. Yes, it's a deep wide receiver class. Don't get me wrong. But not the 7th round deep. You need to be picking players, if you want to be elevating that core, no later than round 4. Yes, there are very few exceptions. Julian Edelman, I want to say Brandon Ayuk, but I can't remember. I know one of the Niners guys.
I'm sure the boys would remind us if that was the case.
So I know Ollie's watching. So if you could just let us know.
Come on, Mike. Comment section.
But yeah, I mean, that's what I mean. So I've marked them down a little bit to a B- because I think they should have taken a wide receiver higher. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah. Like I said again, same with the Browns picks. There's no like head turning wow sort of picks. Nothing to sort of blow your mind. But like you said, Luke Schoonmaker is going to be a game changer. He's going to be one of those tight ends where I think he's good at everything. He is very much in the Dalton Schultz type of mold, who is ironically enough going to replace him. And I think he's going to be really good. And they obviously took defensive tackle Mazi Smith from Michigan, which did surprise me. But again, I can't wait to see a lot of these first picks in action to see how they adapt to the league. They also took a Texas linebacker, DeMarvion Overshawn, who's been compared to Jerron Kearse. So, and we know how big of an influence Jerron Kearse is. And we know what he's like, and we know how respected he is. So it'll be interesting to see if he does live up to that reputation. Then, so I'm going to give him a B, I think.
Yeah, no problems, mate. No problems at all. Right, Denver is another team who sold the farm to buy a flat. So yeah, they're going to get Marvin Mims, good wide receiver. Yes, they did brilliantly picking Drew Sanders, some people had him going in round 1. And they managed to get him in round 3. Riley Moss, good corner, and a couple of good safeties. And then they got the Oregon corner, Alex Forsyth. Again, with these guys, I mean, where they go, until the debt of Russell Wilson's paid off, they are going to struggle. Like I said, I think Mims and Ross, the cornerback, are good picks. Moss, sorry, not Ross, are good picks. That's managed to elevate their draft a little bit. I mean, to probably from a C to probably a B- for me, purely the fact that I don't think they should have sold the farm, personally.
Yeah, but you know what it's like. If you want to get somebody like the likes of Russell Wilson, who is a game changer, who is a game winner, you've got to pay the price.
Yeah. And
if the price is a stupid amount of picks alongside free agents, whatever, then Seattle basically said, name your price. But what the Broncos have done is they addressed his, shall we say, questionable first season as a Bronco. and they brought in help. The first thing they did was bring in help for him. Marvin Mims, they want to see if Russell is worth the money and the draft capital they put up to get him. And then the rest of them then are defensive players.
Yeah.
Another thing I was thinking about as well, right? You've got the fact that they've already drafted one offensive player. There's still people left in free agency. There's still likes of Jarvis Landry who might be worth a year's contract.
Yeah, I completely get that. There's a couple of the wide receivers that are still sitting out there. There's a couple of O-linemen that are still sat out there. One of them's a walking flag from New England, but it is what it is.
Exactly. The fact it's go on.
What is your grade for them, young man?
I'm gonna give them a B again because their hands were tied due to the situation, but they didn't do too bad. They addressed the defensive side of the ball, and then also helping Russell out with the best available at that position at that time.
Yeah. So Detroit probably made two of the weirdest picks ever on round 1. Jamar Gibbs was probably one of the biggest reaches in that round. Jack Campbell was predicted to go round 3, and they decided to pick him round 1. Yes, I know, being a Patriots fan, and I know that we took a offensive tackle that was predicted to go like round 2, round 3, and round 1 last year, but I really don't get understand these picks. Okay, yes, they traded out DeAndre Swift, which makes sense in bringing a running back because they brought Jamar Gibbs in. Don't get
Obviously,
me wrong,
Williams out for a lot of time as well.
But I do like Jamal Gibbs. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a good player and he's a really good player. But it just doesn't make sense to me why you go and get a guy who would have been there easily at number 3 in your second pick, or even number 14 in your second pick, in your second round. And Jack Campbell could have been even there on day 3. It just doesn't make sense. And I've been racking my brains. I've been looking at it. I've been looking at bits of tape of these guys. I've been reading up on these guys, like Jack Campbell more than Jamal Gibbs, because I knew about Jamal Gibbs going into this. And I just can't figure out the picks. Really, really can't figure the picks out. Saying that, day 2 is absolutely brilliant. They nailed day 2. So a lot of the mock drafts I was seeing the couple of days leading up to the draft, they had Simon Laporte possibly being tight end 2.
Okay.
So they went and got him. And he's a very good tight end out of Iowa. Brian Branch, it was touted to go probably even top 10. It could have been going top 10 on day 1.
Yeah.
And they went and got him in the second round of day 3. Love that. Absolutely love that. And I'm sure he was the guy who still his hat on. It's the only one who was at the draft the next day. Oh, I could have been wrong. I'm really gutted Ollie's not here, because he would have talked about Hendon Hooker being an absolute steal in round 3. There's your heir apparent to Jared Goff. Hendon Hooker will now have a season behind a very, very good quarterback who's been there, done that, near enough touched the promised land, as in winning the Lombardi, taking your team to playoffs, taking a team back from diversity all the way up. Who's got a very, very skilled head. He knows this game now, and you're going to have a young lad who's going to be teaching off, and I think that's absolutely brilliant. And Hendon Hooker's got no rush. So if I was marking them on day 2 alone, they'll be an A+, because they were brilliant. But if you look at them on day 1, I'd have put down as a D. They were that bad.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the hell are they doing? They've just literally probably gone from one of their best seasons they've had in years, Detroit. And they're going to be going backwards unless they really crack on. It just didn't make sense at all. And then day 3, they picked us some good players. Broderick Martin as Kobe Scholz, the offensive tackle from William Mary, and the North Carolina Antonio Green. Antonio Green is another good one. It was a bit of a steal. It was projected to go 4-5, and they got him later on. So it's salvaged. The last 2 days salvaged. For me, I gave them a C-. Purely for that, I can't get over how bad that day 1 was. I really can't. It's one of the worst things I've ever seen.
Yeah, I'm going to be really quick on this because time's getting on. I basically agree with you, but I'm going to be honest. I think the scouts knew who they wanted for the first 2 picks, and they were like, "We're having them no matter what. We don't care where they fall, what happens, we're having them." So then and they had them, but as you said, but they were lucky that Brian Branch and Hendon Hooker fell where they did. They were so lucky, and they picked them up, and there was a steal on the second day. As I said, I'll give them a C+ at a push due to the fact that their draft was second day heavy.
Yeah. Kelly's gone. Brian Branch was a day 2 pick, number 45. He was the one that turned up because he wanted his moment.
Of course, and I don't blame him.
And his face was, "Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so happy." So let's go to lackluster Roger Green Bay. That's
indeed
so wrong. They had so many picks. They had, Lucas Van Ness, good player. Pick up 4-15, maybe. Musgrove, great tight end. Jaden Reed, really good wide receiver from Michigan. And there's some solid picks all the way down. They think there was nothing spectacular, nothing out-shouty. They got themselves a tight QB in Sean Clifford out of Penn State. Yeah, I think I liked Green Bay. They quietly went around their business and just got them there. I mean, I've given them a B+ because I really do like some of the picks they've got. They filled all their needs, in my personal opinion. They've got themselves some wide receivers. They've got themselves some punt returners. Yeah, there's some really solid picks there.
Green Bay are going to be an interesting study this season. The first time they've been without a big name franchise quarterback in how long, Ollie? Roughly
19 seasons now? No, hang
Exactly.
on. Brett Favre. And
Brett
Brett Favre
was there
before
as well,
that.
wasn't he?
So, yeah, probably nearly 30 years now.
That's what I mean, yeah. So they're going to be an interesting case study in, like, what do we do now? And the fact that you got Lucas Van Ness, he took in the first round, the edge rusher from Iowa, I think that's a smart pick. Luke Musgrave was the second pick, was going to replace Robert Tonyan. I mean, hopefully he's going to be a plug in and play and just get on with it. There's a wide receiver they took third, Jaden Reed, who I think is going to be with a lot of those youngsters on the Green Bay offense, especially in the wide receiver.
Those wide receivers they've got in Green Bay, Dotson, Dobbs, Watson, now Jalen Reed. They're going to be explosive. Watch that those Green Bay wide receivers. Jordan Love is as good as Green Bay think they got with him. Green Bay could be incredibly dangerous.
Yeah, and they got a tight end, Tucker Kraft, like you said. They may go for 2 tight ends. And the Sean Clifford pick is interesting because he's going to sit behind Jordan Love and obviously watch and learn. But what have Jordan Love done? What they might do. I don't know what they might do is bring in a vet for this season just to sort of be like, sit by your boys, one more season, watch. And then see how it goes, possibly. I don't know.
So, Jordan Love's played 3 games in the NFL. Last couple of years, Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, when Brett Favre walked away from Aaron Rodgers and went to New York, hadn't played a snap.
Okay.
So, it's one of those things. It's like, right, okay, Jordan Love's actually played games now and has an idea. So, yeah, I mean, I think they did really well. I think there's some brilliant picks in there. Going back at it, looking over it, and it's like, wow, Carl Brooks in Bowling Green, going around 6. That's a brilliant pick. And it's like, okay, the Iowa State Anthony Johnson Jr.'s out there, safety in the 7th round. Yeah, I'm just going back there going, oh my God, how did he drop in that far? It's like, yeah, there's some solid picks. I like Green Bay.
Like I said, but I'll probably grade them an A, to be fair. With the fact of basically all the names I mentioned, they're all starters. I think they're all day 1 starters.
Yep. So.
Right.
Houston. I've probably marked them as probably the best. Yeah, I think they're probably done probably them and someone else that's further on down the line are probably the best draft. So they're still going to have their first round pick for next year, despite trading up to get Will Anderson at 3.
Wow.
Grading wise, day 1, A star, because you managed to trade up and still keep your first round pick for next year. Brilliant. They haven't sold the house. They kept the farm. Nathaniel Dell's a really good wide receiver. There's another good wide receiver in Xavier Hutchinson they picked up later on in round 6. Could have gone easily with day 2. That's Juice Scrooge is great name. Center from Penn State. Yeah, they've done really well. I really like Texans' work. They've got what they needed. They've given their quarterback, despite everyone saying, "Oh, we're going to trade away." They're going to trade away. I don't think. Looking back at that that draft room now, I never think they were going to trade away number 2. I always think they knew that they were going to have CJ Stroud. I think they always knew that was their plan.
It was a smoke screen to generate interest to get people talking. That's what it was.
I wouldn't be surprised if they phone Chicago. Which one are you taking? Because, we want to be able to know what we're going to work with going forward. It wouldn't surprise me that. I mean, I am chuffed a bit CJ Stroud's gone at 2 because his character got absolutely demolished in this lead up. The S2 test, and he's always the last one in to show the chain into it and stuff like that. unfair characteristics where he got ripped apart. And I was so happy he got picked to 2. I was probably my happiest thing out of the lot, apart from Brian Branch. And day 2 is the only one left in the green room. Yeah, I really like this, and I've given them an A+ because I think they're absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I'm not far behind you, but to be fair, CJ Stroud, like I said, I picked him up going to the Texans in my mock draft every time, and I knew he would, and he did.
Yeah.
But that Will Anderson trade, that's one of those things where you're fighting off sleep after about 4 or 5 cans at 1 in the morning. That's something that would sort of keep your eyes open. Spoiler alert, that may have been me. Yeah, that kept your eyes open and made your jaw hit the floor. That was a hell of a good pick. And they got the aforementioned Juice Scruggs from Penn State, who's a center. They also drafted Houston's wide receiver Tank Dell, an edge rusher from TCU, Dylan Horton, an Alabama linebacker, Henry Tutu. That's not right, I'm sure.
I love that name. I really love that name. If he was in New England, I would be buying that shirt.
Henry Tutu, his dad is Thomas the Tank Engine. Notre Dame offensive lineman Jared Patterson, Iowa State wide receiver Xavier Hutchinson, and a Pittsburgh safety Brandon Hill. As I said, yeah, I'm probably going to go B+. Really, really safe and solid draft for the Texans.
On to Indy. So when we were on the clock on last Thursday night,
yes,
us wonderful people on this podcast managed to get the first 4 picks on the nose. I think there was only 3 or 4 players that we didn't get in that first round. If I remember off the top of my head, I'll have to go back through it all. But yeah,
we didn't get this one.
We did.
We did. We did. Oh, sorry, my mistake. The reason I'm saying that is because, quick side story, because I know we're pushed for time. I had my buddy over here last week, and we were watching the draft, and I said, okay, then, for every pick the podcast got right, oh, sorry, tell a lie, for every pick the podcast got wrong, we'd have to have a quick swig of our drink. The first 4 ones, my mouth is dry. And after that, yeah. All fell apart.
I love the video, too compromised. Brian Bryant stayed there to get his moment. Will Levis, I do not blame him for going home because that camera was on his face every pick, and I felt so sorry for that guy. I really, really did. But that's a later pick anyway. Really like this. Anthony Richardson, they're betting their house a little bit on him, hoping his ceiling's higher than I think a lot of players did. Josh Downs is a steal in round 3.
Oh, yeah, 100%. He was going to go in round 1.
Yeah, I mean, I think I put him in round 1, the back end of round 1 to KC.
I thought he was going to come to us, to be fair.
Jalen Jones, a cornerback out of Texas A&M. Texas A&M do produce, half-decent cornerbacks. Daniel Scott, the safety out of California as well, isn't a bad pickup as well. There are some really good, good. Again, there was nothing on day 3 that goes, oh my God, how you've managed to still get him, that kind of thing. There was some solid picks. It was a wish they would get some more O-line to help your rookie quarterback. I have a thing, one of these. If you have a rookie quarterback, you draft O-lineman.
Yeah.
No matter what. You go after O-lineman, lineman, give him time in that bloody pocket to make so he's not rushing around and doesn't make stupid mistakes. Kelly just popped something a comment up. And all the Will Levis girlfriend would have gone around 1 comments. I'm not saying a word. Click on that one. So that's why I've marked them down a little bit. I've given them a B- because I wish they did get a couple more O-linemen just to give, your future star, some protection more than anything else.
Well, the fact that Richardson isn't going to be starting this year, he's going to be starting behind Minshew Mania, brother. So he'll sit under the learning tree as well. And the fact that the Colts have got a new coach, we could see a completely different Indianapolis Colts this year, Yeah. And the fact that they've got Josh Dowd to replace Paris Campbell, and the fact that he fell that far is a steal, in my opinion. I'm going to give him a B because I think they drafted really well, but the proof is in the pudding, and the pudding is a while away yet.
Yeah, I mean, the B's not a bad shout. I mean, onto Jacksonville, who I think, we all knew they were going to take an offensive tackle in the first round. None of us went for Anton Harrison, though, mind you. Good. I mean, I've seen a look a little bit into this one. Oklahoma, they do produce good O-linemen. So I'm not surprised. I've gotten down. They've picked up everything. Love the pick of Ventrell Miller in the 4th round, the Florida interior linebacker. I've seen when I was in Boston, I saw some videos of him, and I thought this guy is made for the NFL. He is good in coverage, as he is in rushing the interior line. Good luck going against that Indy and Houston twice a year, because that ain't going to happen at all. He is a brilliant player and a steal for round 4. I would have had him going round 2 easily because he's a brilliant player. I do like this. I think they've done incredibly well. They filled all their needs they wanted. And they got themselves a fullback in Derek Parrish from Houston and near the end of day 3. So, we love a fullback. We love them smashing holes into the O-line to give that.
Who drafts a fullback these days?
Exactly. I've given them a B because it is a really solid draft. It's very, very good. I'd like it. There's a lot of good players in this draft class that's gone unnoticed, and I think Jacksonville have picked up quite a few of them.
Yeah, 100%. And the fact that Anton Harrison, I would say the pick came from out of nowhere, but it didn't due to the fact that I can't think the tackle that's suspended's name. What's his name, Ollie? Any idea?
Cam Robinson.
Thank you. Yeah. The fact that he's got to be a plug and play straight away. It's a case of here's the playbook, learn it. You go 4 months, and he's going to be the microscope's going to be underneath him. But then what happens when Robinson comes back? Where's he going to go then? So we shall see. And the fact that they've drafted a fullback pops me every time because, I'm a big fan of fullbacks. I like some Nick Boyle for the Ravens, fullback, I'm going to give exactly. And Kyle Juszczyk, the 49ers, shout out to Ollie and Phil for that one. I'm going to give Tony Khan's boys a B+.
Nice. So my eldest team now, onto KC. I've got a couple of things to say. So over to you. The floor is yours, Mr. Harris.
Thank you, bud. I appreciate that. The Chiefs. Another case of the rich getting richer. I didn't think I don't know. They had all those players left on the board, but they didn't go for the fashionable wow factor pick. They went for a pick that they needed. The edge rusher from Kansas State, hometown boy, Felix Uzama, which if the Super Bowl champions, right, if their scouts think he's good enough to go first for their team in a need that they needed to fill in, he's good enough for me. They also went for a wide receiver with Rashee Rice, the following pick then. Oklahoma offensive tackle, Wanya Morris. Virginia Tech defensive back, Jamari Connor. Stephen F. Austin, edge rusher, B.J. Thompson. Texas defensive tackle, Keondre Coburn. And Ball State University cornerback, Nick Jones. So, I think it wasn't a flashy draft. It was a draft because it's backup. It's just what's the strength? Squad depth. It's a squad depth draft for the Chiefs. Exactly. So they played it safe. I'm going to give them a B+.
Yeah, I mean, I've given him a B myself. I mean, Felix Uzama, he's going to sit behind Chandler Jones for a year, isn't he? And learn from that guy. Maybe more years. You can't get a better defensive end to learn from than Chandler Jones. I'm kind of glad there's a couple of guys would say differently. Chandler Jones is a great player. He's a great professional. Brilliant player to learn on. Rashee Rice isn't a bad player. I mean, we profiled him as Phil's wide R2. He is not your typical KC wideout. KC likes speed. He's not just he's quick. His 40 was a 4.4, something like that. It wasn't a flashy speed, but he's a big-bodied and he's different.
And he can shift, yeah.
I put them down as they needed a tight end, to go, because Kelsey's getting a bit on now and he's probably into his last contract and they haven't really got that wow factor of a tight end too.
Scary, he's getting on and he's under 30. He's considered getting on.
Rashee Rice could be that wide receiver that could do it, like a Devontae Parker does in New England, that kind of big-bodied wide receiver. Nick Jones from Bell State, cornerback, not a bad pickup for a late round. Had zero touchdowns given against him in the red zone.
That's incredible.
Admittedly, it wasn't. He didn't play a place like Alabama, Oklahoma, these top teams. But at any level, that's not a bad thing to give up. Love that little thing. Did you say you gave them a B+ or B?
Yeah. Like I said, it was a serviceable draft, nothing flashy. They filled needs that needed to be filled, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah. So we're about halfway through, or just over. So let's roll on to the Chargers.
Chargers?
LA Chargers.
Yeah. Do you want to do the Raiders first?
LA Chargers, Las Vegas. Yeah, we'll go LV then. We'll go that way.
Ollie, just a suggestion. We've gone over our usual time now, and we're halfway through. Do you want to continue next week so we can give every team a bit more in depth? Because I don't want to rush, and I think the teams deserve a bit better.
I'll tell you what, I like that. I like that suggestion a lot. We'll go down.
We'll have Ollie and Phil's input as well then.
Yeah, let's go down that route. That's not a bad shout because I didn't realise what the time was.
So sorry, John, you're going to wait 7 days for our quick review of how we thought Vegas drafted.
Yeah, I mean, we will have some news next week because there's a lot of new talk about schedule release next week. So it could be another long podcast again next week. So but it's schedule release.
Not to mention Baltimore signing yesterday, Rock Ya-Sin. What a cool name for a cornerback. He's in Baltimore for a year with a $6 million wage bill for Eric DeCosta to consider. But apparently he's good. All right. Fair enough, John. We'll do US and then we'll go.
All right, well, let's do Las Vegas really quickly to keep John happy.
Okay, come on in, bud.
Yeah, Tyree Wilson, great pick of 7.
Oh yes.
Michael Mayer, a steal. Same as Byron Young.
So cool.
Day 1 and day 2, they drafted really well. The day 1 and day 2 was really good. Day 3, I'm just trying to find the rest of it now. Yeah, day 3, Aiden O'Connell, the really good Purdue QB. I like that pick. I really, really like that pick. He's a Jimmy-esque quarterback with a little bit more legs on him. That's my opinion. But yeah,
all I'm going to say, right? Yeah, that's fine. All I'm going to say, right, is Tyree Wilson is an incredible pick, and he's going to do wonders for the Raiders. To be fair, great edge rusher. But my standout pick from the draft is Michael Mayer, because you know what the Raiders fans are like. You know exactly what they'll do. They'll come to Allegiant Stadium, right, dressed as the shape with just a jersey on with Mayer on the back, and you know they will, and it's going to be awesome. You know?
Oh yes.
It's one of the very few times I would consider changing allegiances in the NFL. Not that I ever would, but I think that would be super cool. And the fact that they also drafted from a defensive tackle, Byron Young from Alabama, and wide receiver Trey Tucker. So hopefully he will fill the spot that was left by Henry Ruggs last year. And a defensive back, Jacorian Bennett as well from Maryland. You mentioned, obviously, the aforementioned Aiden O'Connell. Georgia safety Christopher Smith II, Florida linebacker Amari Burney, and a defensive tackle from Arizona State, Nesta Jade Silvera.
Nice.
So yeah, like I said, I think pairing up Tyree Wilson with Max Crosby is going to give people nightmares. Max Crosby's an absolute animal. I would love him to play for the Ravens. I think he's fantastic. And they've also got
there's a certain Niners host that isn't a fan of Max Crosby.
Yeah, I can imagine. And the fact that they drafted Michael Mayer, who again will go straight in to replace Darren Waller. So, the microscope will be on him from the off. But yeah, I'm going to give him a B+. I think they drafted really well.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah, I've also given them a B+, actually. Like I said, I really do like what they've done. They are starting to have that New England Patriots feel about the drafts now. Obviously they've got a lot of New England Patriots ex-players there, including Jacoby now that went over this year. I really do like what they've done over there, and they are going in. I think they're going to give a few teams a bit of issues over there in Las Vegas this year. I think they'll be destined for the playoffs. Nice way to really predict them.
Yeah. Can we go now, John, please?
Irony is, he says, I'll be here next week anyway. Is that because he's better than both? So?
Oh, yes. I'm not getting into that one.
Yes.
I'm not getting into that one. There's a certain host on this show that goes to bed in Nick Bosa pajamas with his Nick Bosa curtains, his Nick Bosa bedspread.
Joel Campbell, I'm guessing it's meant to say I was in Kansas City, Missouri. Nice.
Really? Oh, that's incredible.
Love that one.
He's one of the 315,000 people over the 2 days.
54 million people watched it.
Wow.
Insane.
How are sports going, bud?
I don't know if it's because Fall Out Boy played Monday night or Motley Crue, Friday night.
Motley Crue, yeah. That's probably what it is, to be fair.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, we will continue. We will have part 2 next week with the foursome. Hopefully.
And in the immortal words of Thin Lizzy, the boys are back in town.
Yeah, Ollie is currently somewhere over the Atlantic, I believe, or he's sat in a Florida airport, one of the two, but he is due back in the UK tomorrow. I'm sure he'll have something to say about San Francisco's, because I'm kind of glad they're back next week because I've gone in on their draft picks. Oops.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure as always. We will see you next week. Good night.
Love you, bye.